Hi guys, it's Bree and welcome to my channel, Just Breezy. If you're new here, thanks for checking it out and I'd love for you to be a subscriber. Just be sure you hit that bell for notifications because I don't want you to miss a thing. We upload weekly content to share resources, help spread awareness, and tell some of life's stories. Because like I say, life isn't always just breezy, but together it can be a little easier. Guys, in this video, I wanted to chat about something that kept coming up at some parent boards that I belong to on social media. And to be quite honest with you, I would see the topic and not really have much to add. And that is the Autism Cares Act of 2019. Now, I'm not a parent of a child with autism, but I am a professional that works in the field for over 20 years with both children and adults that have autism spectrum disorder. So I figured this would be something I should probably educate myself on. So that's what I did. I took a few days, looked at a multitude of resources, watched some interviews, and kind of came together with my own information that I wanted to share with you. Now, I urge you to do your own research, have your questions answered, and even reach out to your local politicians to say, how can I or my family member or the organization that I work for benefit from the Autism Cares Act of 2019? So where I want to start is just to clear up something that I saw a lot of confusion about on social media, and that is where this bill actually came from. And I think what happened is because it has 2019 in it, a lot of people, including myself, assumed that it was new. But it is not. It's actually a reauthorization. What Donald Trump signed in September was a reauthorization of the CARES Act from 2014, which was under the Obama administration. But wait, it didn't start there. Actually, back in 2006, under George W. Bush, there was something called combating autism. And what happened there was that some advocates stood up and said, whoa, why are we saying combating autism? Why are we sort of declaring war on autism? They found the language to be a little offensive. So fast forward to 2014, they changed it to the Autism Cares Act. Now, what CARES stands for is collaboration, accountability, research, education, and support. There's a lot there, so that is why we say the Autism Cares Act. We're going to take a look at, though, what that act actually does and what it means for people in the autism community. This is the government's way to earmark funds to go towards the autism community in the form of research and grants, training, monitoring, and services. Now, what they do is they take this $1.8 billion fund and they spread it across different government entities, such as the National Institute of Health, the NIH, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, and the Health Resources and Services Administration, the HRSA. Part of the funding will also go to cover the National Autism Coordinator, as well as funding for the IACC, which is the Intra-Agency Autism Coordinating Committee. Now, another change they made for 2019 is that they are requiring parent members to be part of this committee, as well as people who have autism themselves, because this committee makes huge decisions that directly impact the autism community. So what a great perspective it will be to have parents and people themselves with autism when making these decisions. Now guys, if you go online, you can see the breakdown of how this fund will be split between the different government entities that we had discussed. And while many of us are excited about research, right? We want answers, we want to know causes and possible links to the environment. There are many people in the autism community that say, hey, listen, I have autism. My family member has autism, and what we need to focus on are quality services and supports for our family members. Now, a really important change that's been made with this reauthorization is that the language within the act has changed. Prior to 2019, the act stated children with autism. Now guys, we all know children with autism, they grow up to be adults with autism. And just because they age out of school services doesn't mean they don't require supports and services anymore for their autism. Now what the act states is they've removed all of the wording that says children with autism and replaced it with people with autism across their lifetime. So guys, this is incredibly important because it's acknowledging that people with autism require services and support, not only as children, but as they get older and as they age out. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see how this plays out over the next 5 years. There have been some interviews that I've seen from people who work in organizations that are a little skeptical because it's not quite clear how organizations will access some of this money, how families and people with autism autism will be directly benefited from the funding, but again, we'll have to see. And as I said, this isn't meant to be the end-all explanation of the Autism Cares Act of 2019. I encourage you, read up on it, do some research, get your questions answered, contact your local officials and say, okay, hey, now what? Now it's passed, this is great, but what should we expect from it? And how can my family member, or how can I benefit from this act? Guys, listen, if you have any other information that's factual and that you think can help people, please leave it in the comments below. If you learned even a little bit from this, I'd appreciate a like and a share so that other people can be part of the conversation. And if you are somebody with autism, or you're a family that has a child with autism, I would love to know your own thoughts on this act. And please feel free to leave that in the comments as well. Guys, as always, thank you so much for visiting the channel. Consider subscribing, and we will chat again soon.